Chinese state TV's, so-called expose of the alleged rampant sex trade in Dongguan, Guangdong province has generated a flood of reports and responses from other Chinese media. After all, the sex trade is not something that began only yesterday, and it's hardly limited in scope. In fact, it's proverbially known as the world's oldest profession. So was it a true expose or a story sensationalized for lack of news material during the long Spring Festival holiday? Well, to get an idea of what this so-called expose was all about, let's look at the Shinmin Evening News' version. Just hours after a national broadcast program accused police of doing nothing about the rampant sex trade in Dongguan, 67 suspects had been detained and 12 entertainment venues shut down in the city in southern Guangdong province. CCTV's undercover report claimed that sex services were openly and widely available at massage parlors, hotels, sauna centers, and karaoke clubs in Dongguan. Some five-star hotels, such as the Sheraton Dongguan, were also involved in the illegal but lucrative business. The highly visible trade in sex, according to CCTV, included beauty contests where prostitutes wore revealing dresses and number tags and paraded along a catwalk in front of prospective clients. Sometimes presenters promoted girls-like products on shopping channels. Now in Fanggang town, where there is a red light district, a spa manager said every venue had its own special services in order to survive cutthroat competition. She said 2 more spas were due to open soon because of the number of prospective clients. CCTV also claimed some high-end hotels also provide sex services, but in relative secrecy. At the Sheraton Dongguan, people looking for sexual services have to go to the Royal Club in the underground garage. All right, let's get real, guys. This happens all over the world, which raises questions as to whether it was a true investigative report, much less an expose. Now, judging from the resource person it interviewed, the Global Times' report almost questioned the raid. Sociologist Li Yin-he believes that sometimes police are reluctant to respond because they are short of manpower, not necessarily because they are in league with people in the industry. Li has been studying the sex life of Chinese society for years. She says it's hard to take away the sex industry in Dongguan because the demand is too strong. She explains prostitution is all over the country, and it thrives in Dongguan because control over it is relatively loose there. Li says the current anti-prostitution law does not help solve the problem and instead makes the situation worse. She says it allows criminal organizations to take control of the industry because the government chooses to ignore it. Li says legalization might help to solve the prostitution issue, but the biggest obstacle is attitudes on morality. She adds that part of the problem is that China declared the elimination of prostitution as a goal. National People's Congress Deputy Che Shisheng from Heilongjiang Province has been fighting to legalize prostitution for many years. In a recent discussion on Sohu.com, she said her aim was to better prevent AIDS among sex workers. But the Beijing Times takes quite the opposite view. To get rid of the sex capital title, Dongguan needs to crack down on the sex industry. Our country's law is strictly against prostitution, but the flourishing sex industry in Dongguan shows local government's connivance. In CCTV's expose, you can see that sex service organizations are aware of the law but aren't afraid of it. Even the local police ignored the reporter. Tolerance towards the sex trade can attract spending in the city, but in this case, it actually harms the city. If they don't get rid of the sex capital title as soon as possible, Dongguan's economic achievements and its own culture will be blemished. Tourists and investors will stop investing in the city. And just as a footnote, a report on Tencent.com says a huge media organization with control of huge media resources should not make news like this. When they are shooting prostitutes stripping, they are humiliating their profession and are also performing a strip dance themselves mentally